Hey, let's take a look at the streets of New Orleans, Bourbon Street to be exact, where the party was underway for Marty Gras. You can see a few folks that are still out there. Today is Fat Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like the party has died down maybe just a little bit. We checked in earlier this morning. That place was packed, as you might imagine. People may be starting to get a little rest before all the events this afternoon. Good morning to you on your Tuesday. Thanks for waking up with us here on Sunrise. It's now 6 o'clock. Hey, woo! She was ready for the party. Was not expecting that.
The floor director told me to
that
do it.
That was not polite.
You got a party going on behind the camera. Let me throw it at me. I'm going to miss it.
There we go.
That's about as close as we're getting to Bourbon Street this morning, guys. Thanks for joining us here on 13 Sunrise. Yeah, actually, because of the weather impact that we have behind us, we were looking at Bourbon Street, and they actually have severe weather headed their way too, Lindsay.
Yeah, they're going to have to rework some parade plans, we heard. And not only do they have wind advisories in effect, they have the chance of some severe weather down there later today. What a bummer.
Yeah.
Why is the weather always got to make plans all impacted by this? But here, tell you what, back closer to home, our weather impact is not going to be severe weather. It's going to be some heavy rain chances later tonight. This is a look at radar right now. We are rain free around the metro. We've been monitoring some heavier pockets of rain that have developed across that far northern tier of the state, but that is moving basically from west to east, so not in our direction. We were watching for the potential of some rain to fill in across the western tier of the state this morning. Could lead to some isolated showers during the first part of the day, but we've got a lot of dry air. Some of that rain's going to have to overcome before it actually impacts the surface here across the metro and right along basically the I-70 corridor. So rain chances going to be pretty few and far between for us this morning. Again, that much better chance arrives tonight. That's as this actual storm system moves in. So all of this that's out there now kind of developing out ahead of that main storm system. The warm front, though, it's already changing up our wind direction. So we are running significantly warmer than where we were this time yesterday. In fact, 52 is warmer than our high was yesterday. Got up to 50. Now we're looking at warmer temperatures moving in, and the wind going to be pretty gusty today out of the south as we sit in the warm sector of this weather system. Temperatures will briefly get back here into the low 60s. Do see a little bit of a lull in that rain this afternoon before that heavy stuff moves back in, mainly after about 5 o'clock today. So we're going to break down that timeline for you as we get into the full forecast. But at 6:02 this morning, I do want to take you out to the roadways. We've been monitoring this, but it's been pretty quiet, so not much to talk about here. To show you real quick what it looks like for our northernmost counties up that 65 corridor, where there has been some rain out there so far this morning. This is a look at I-65 up near Remington. If you're traveling between Indianapolis, perhaps up towards Chicago, just know that that more organized rain has settled in across that part of the state. But things are looking pretty good. In fact, here's the west side of town here, closer to the Indy Metro. This is going to be just to the west of, or I should say to the east of State Road 267 out at I-70. Even closer to the airport as well. So we're looking pretty good around the city. We'll let you know, though, if we do see any delays develop.
Thank you, Lindsay. Right now, we have to get you caught up on some breaking news. We're following from Lawrence, where we learned one person is shot and another is in custody after shooting just under 30 minutes ago.
This all started near 46th and Post Road. Our Matthew Foltz just got to the scene there. He joins us live. Matthew, tell us what we know and what you've been able to get from police.
Yeah, Samantha and Jalea, we have not spoken with police yet. We just arrived here within the last 5 minutes or so. However, you can still see it's a pretty active scene. This is a pretty quiet neighborhood. I just spoke with one gentleman who lives in this neighborhood. He tells me it's mainly older folks who live in this neighborhood. But as you can see several Lawrence police cruisers right here, a silver SUV parked in front of homes. We're still working to learn exactly where the person that we were learning that was shot in this shooting. Like I said, I did speak with one man who lives nearby who says he saw one man being loaded up into an ambulance and that he seemed to be moving his head and seemed to be alert. But again, we are still waiting to get more information from police at this hour to really learn what exactly led up to this shooting, just how many injuries, more information on the suspect. So we'll continue to be out here, and hopefully I can speak with police and give you another update coming up at 6:30.
All right, Matthew, we'll check back in shortly. Thank you.
Well, this morning, Mayor Joe Hogsett is now pulling his nomination for IACS Interim Director Kelly Diamond.
Yeah, this is really an about face after weeks of pressure from volunteers and the public for the City County Council not to appoint Diamond to that position. Instead, the council tabled this decision until the mayor nominates a new person for the position. Kelly Diamond was appointed as Interim Director of IACS. She was not at last night's meeting.
That stands for Indianapolis Animal Care Services. However, last month, dozens of volunteers at the shelter protested against her approval in this role. Some of the concerns brought up include the shelter cutting volunteer hours, claims of mismanagement of stray animals, and being turned away. Last night, our crew saw some people there being escorted out of this meeting because of outbursts. However, the counselors say that they are listening to everyone's concerns.
Promise. We heard you. We heard the volunteers from Animal Care and Control very loudly. We listened. That's why we had this special committee hearing, just to hear from them, because we wanted to, and I believe this is a response that they were looking for.
Now, it's not clear when the new nomination will be made by the mayor or how long Diamond will stay in that interim role. 13 News did reach out to the mayor's office for more information on what's next in that promise. We have not yet heard back. We'll keep you updated.
Well, here's what also came out of that meeting last night. Councilors decided to move forward with the plan for downtown.
Yeah, they approved the budget for the new Downtown Economic Enhancement District is what it's called. And this money would essentially give Downtown Indy Inc. a long-term solution to keep the Mile Square safe and clean, especially as pandemic relief dollars run out. Right now, the budget is set at $4.5 million.
We're really excited for the assurity of the continued clean team, the continued safety, the continued homeless outreach services that really have benefited downtown over the last 2 years.
So here's how this would work. Downtown properties are required to pay a fee of 0.17% of their assessed value. However, residential properties are no longer included in the equation, so homeowners don't have to pay this. This money will become available in July.
Your time is 6:06. This morning, we're getting a clearer picture of what led to a deadly shooting outside a Texas Roadhouse on Indy's south side. Now, this happened near Southport Road and McFarland Boulevard. We know an off-duty police officer, customers, even workers tried to jump in and break up a fight between two men inside that restaurant. The off-duty officer says the suspect, who had a gun, pushed her off him before running out of the restaurant. The officer told investigators she ran after the suspect before hearing multiple shots. Robert Smith died in that shooting. The off-duty officer then held the suspect at gunpoint until Metro Police arrived and took that man into custody. Meanwhile, this morning, we're also learning a man is dead after a shooting last week on the city's Near East Side. This happened Friday night near Brookside Park. Metro Police say they got a shots fired call in that area, and that's when they found Chaston Wheeler shot. Police say he was taken to a hospital in critical condition, but he died on Sunday. Investigators this morning still looking for the person who shot him.
Well, a man convicted of multiple murders now has another 65-year sentence for killing an Indianapolis woman. Now, he is already serving 2 life sentences for killing 2 other women in Tennessee. But this time, a Marion County judge sentenced Bruce Mendenhall in the murder of 31-year-old Karma Purpura. Investigators say that this happened inside the cab of his truck at a truck stop back in July of 2007. Purpura's daughter was just 15 at the time. Now she is sharing her heartbreak about losing her mom.
Karma was more than just my mother. She was a beautiful soul, a kind and compassionate artist who brought light to lives and everyone who knew her. She deserves so much more than to have her life ended at the hands of a monster.
Well, Mendenhall was asked if he had anything to say after this sentencing. He did not have a response. Police arrested Mendenhall in Nashville, Tennessee, the day after Purpura disappeared. Investigators found her clothes, her phone, even an ATM card in a bag in his truck. Purpura's remains were found 4 years later along a highway in Kentucky. We've got some new information this morning about the plea agreement between a former Avon chiropractor and prosecutors. Rock Bird will plead guilty to 4 counts of sexual battery, all of them felonies. The other charges, though, will be dismissed. Bird will be required to register as a sex offender for 10 years. He was first charged in September of 2023 when a woman said that he touched her inappropriately during an appointment at Cornerstone Chiropractic. Other women eventually came forward telling very similar stories. Now, this plea agreement says that Byrd will spend no time in jail. Byrd also informed the state and the court that he will not look to reinstate his chiropractor's license.
This morning, we're checking to see if charges will be filed against a 14-year-old boy in connection with the shooting last month in Anderson, and police now say that boy turned himself in. Police have now arrested 3 people in connection to that shooting near South Madison Avenue and West 14th Street on February 2nd. That's when police say the suspects shot and killed Dayla Swain and injured 2 other people. Police have already arrested a 17-year-old and 19-year-old in connection to that case.
Give a round of applause to Mason. Let him know. Let us hear him. You may now release.
Yeah, a very, very heartfelt send-off for a HSE student that was killed in a car crash Saturday in Fishers. Last night, the HSE community got together on the high school's football field where Mason Alexander really shined as a standout star. Alexander not only excelled at football, but he was also a track athlete. His football coach, Michael Kelly, shared that he had a bigger-than-life personality with a work ethic like no other.
So I remember him as a freshman coming in as not the biggest guy, but the biggest. He had the biggest smile and just an amazing young man. He brought joy to a room.
The crash that killed this 18-year-old is still under investigation. Police say that Alexander was riding in a car that crashed into a tree and caught fire after the driver tried to pass another car on the road. A spokesperson for the family says that they will be releasing funeral arrangements once they're finalized and made.
Escalating trade war. Tariffs against Mexico and Canada are now in effect with an additional tariff on China.
Overnight, one of the countries is firing back with a tariff of their own. So we will explain this for you in 4 minutes. Hey, Lindsay.
All right, and rain gear ready. We've already got widespread showers that have moved into the northern tier of the state. We've been monitoring some shower activity over in western Indiana. Could move into the metro, but that better chance for everybody to see that heavy rain arrives tonight, mainly after 5 p.m. I've got the latest timeline in the forecast.